What's up, everybody? So I found the coolest independently owned Lego store in the DFW area that I have ever been to. The owners were incredible. They had the most incredible selection that I've ever seen in a Lego store, and I ended up walking away with one of my White Whale sets, a set that I have wanted for over a decade now. I'm excited to share more about the store and about the set that I bought, and I will do that shortly. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like this video. My name is Jake. I'm a PhD student in clinical psychology and lifelong fan of Lego Star Wars. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. So before we get to what was my favorite stop on this trip by far, I did want to show some footage from a couple of other stores. This is a Bricks and Minifigs location in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and this was the coolest set that I saw. It is the indoor set from, I believe, 2010, and I do own this set. I just lost the figs, but it was cool to see this set in box. It's not one that I've seen in box for some years now, so they had a decent selection there. Then I went over to one of my frequent stops when I'm in the DFW area, Little Brick, and overall, I like this store. They have a really nice selection of in-box sets, so if that's something you're interested in, I would consider stopping by there. My only issue is that they mix in custom and non-official knockoff Lego minifigures with their official Lego minifigures. Thankfully, I'm someone who can spot the difference pretty easily, but they don't do anything to distinguish the two, and that to me is a red flag as far as independent Lego stores are concerned. I think that that's not the greatest business practice. Just assuming that a kid or someone who maybe is new to Lego would be able to distinguish between the two, and that is definitely not always the case, and some of the knockoff Legos look exactly like the official Lego minifigure. So that's my one critique of Little Brick. But again, if you were interested in some in-box sets, they had a good selection. They had the newer Cloud City set along with the UCS Mos Eisley Cantina, as well as a few others there. But let's go ahead and move on to the bread and butter of this brick trip video. And this is a store that I just stumbled upon as I was driving to another Bricks and Minifigs location. I looked over and saw the words Brick Lab, so I had my wife Google it. I made a quick U-turn, and I am so glad that I did, because this is the coolest independently owned Lego store that I have ever been in by far. As you can see, they have a massive collection. Their prices are very fair. Many of them are actually a bit less than the current Bricklink or Brick Economy value, which you never see in a Bricks and Minifig store or most other independently owned Lego stores. They're always priced up a bit. They also had a 15% off sale going on. The owner was wonderful. He was very welcoming and inviting, and his daughter was also working in the store at the time that we stopped in, and she was also very helpful. They're just great people. You can tell that they have a heart for kids. They also host birthday parties. They have kind of a little learning center. They have a little mock station where you can use pieces to build sets. Overall, the vibe of this store was just incredible. And no, they're not sponsoring or paying me in any kind of way. I just went in and am giving you my honest impressions. But let me point out a few really cool sets that I saw really quick. First off, they had the Cloud City set from 2002. He pointed the set out to me, said it was in perfect condition. I was a bit scared to get near it, but he did pull it out of the case for me to take a look at. And although I'm not the biggest fan of the build on this set, it's the most expensive Lego Star Wars set of all time, and it's so iconic. It is a collector's dream for the most part in the Lego Star Wars community. The figures were in pristine condition. I did hold the Boba Fett, which is one of the most terrifying moments ever, holding the most expensive Lego Star Wars minifigure of all time. They bought some Lego pieces in bulk from a collector, and a kid was in the store and was digging through this bulk box that someone had just sold to the store for a pretty cheap price. The kid dug out this Boba Fett and started screaming that he found the Cloud City Boba Fett, was running around the store. Obviously, the owners retrieved it as quick as possible and realized that the entire Cloud City set was in the box, just broken into pieces, but it was in perfect condition. If I'm remembering that story correct, that's exactly how it went down, which is pretty wild. But yes, it is in great great condition, and honestly, it was super cool seeing this in person and taking a closer look at it. Obviously, a very iconic set here, but let's move on to a few other sets that I saw, and I did walk away with one of my white whale sets, which I'm going to touch on shortly. At first, I didn't see it because I got distracted by this Ewok village. It was complete as far as the build is concerned. It just did not have the figures. That was very tempting still for me to purchase. Here are a few other sets that I saw on the shelf that were in box and were priced pretty fairly, and I think that, again, they have a wonderful selection here. As you can see, Jabba's palace, the Rancor pits there. I'll just freeze frame for a minute so you can take a quick look at what's on the shelves. But then I spotted something on the used set shelf, and it is a set that I have always wanted, but I've actually never seen in person, and that is the Palpatine's Arrest set. So I had them take it off of the shelf for me to take a look at it to see what condition it was in. They were selling it for around $370, but it was 15% off. So in my mind, I'm like, if this thing is in pristine mint condition, it would be completely ridiculous of me to not walk away with it. And thankfully, it was in pristine condition. They discussed the Lego collector who brought this set in and said that he was very OCD with his collection. He kept it very clean. He kept it in glass cases, which I am a big fan of, obviously. So I did leave with the Palpatine's Arrest set, and I just gotta say, when you go into a store and the owners are respectful, there's a good vibe, they're very helpful, you can tell that they're not just scammy or not trying to jack up prices or gyp people in any kind of way. That makes me, as a collector and as a consumer, want to buy product from these sellers. And that's how I felt about it. If this would have been a store that I walked into and let's just say the people at the counter were rude, didn't seem like I was welcome there, or their prices were super jacked up, I probably would be less inclined to buy a set at this price point. Actually, I know I would. I probably wouldn't do it even if it was around this price. Again, no one's paying me to say this. I'm just giving my honest opinion, as I always do. So if you're ever in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please go stop by Brick Lab. They have a great selection. They have great programs for kids. If you're a kid collector or an adult collector, I think this is a great place to stop by, and I will definitely be back soon. Brick Lab also has a Bricklink page, which I will link in the description below if you'd like to go check out some of their selection there. Thank you to Brick Lab for welcoming my wife and I and giving us a great experience in what I believe is the coolest Lego store that I personally have ever been to. But anyways, I'm going to be doing a review on the Palpatine's Arrest set very soon on the channel, so stay tuned for that. I will be talking more about it and giving my more in-depth thoughts. If you've enjoyed this video and you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like this video, check out our other content. We have a Lego Star Wars based podcast. I'm also collecting all of the Complete Saga minifigures on the channel as well. But anyways, thank you for stopping by Psych Walker Studios. Keep collecting, care for your mind, and may the Force be with you.